Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
At the end of the day, TCU played way better than we did across the board. If we play like that again Thursday, I expect to be flying home Thursday night or Friday morning.
We're very confident we can do that. We've shown time and time again that we can have a bad game and bounce back and put it on some people. So, I'm not worried about this game. I believe next game we'll come out and we'll show that we can play ball.
Nobody said it would be easy to win a national championship at the College World Series. It's not going to be easy now for Coastal Carolina. They put themselves into the loser's bracket with a loss last night. The TCU did not play well. TCU played very well. Boy, that Baker kid, can he swing a bat? Is he Seth Beer or not? You talk about a guy that whose swing is as beautiful, power, hits all over the field. What a terrific player he is. Couldn't get him out last night. Plus, Chanticleers did not play well in the field. 2 errors leading to 3 unearned runs. That'll get you beat in big games. So, Coastal Carolina will play Texas Tech tomorrow night in an elimination game at the College World Series. Win that, turn around, play TCU again on Friday. Win that, turn around, play TCU again on Saturday. Win that, you're in the championship series, Pro. So work is ahead. They've got to win 3 games just to make it to Monday.
Just to make sure that the people out there that are in their mid-50s or pushing 60 or near 60, I will say something that only you would probably understand, and that is Luken Baker is probably the closest thing I've seen to Frank Howard, the big first baseman that played years ago with the Dodgers and the old Washington Senators.
Why not Harmon Killebrew?
Not big enough. Killebrew was big, but Howard just, as Baker, that bat looks like a toothpick to him.
He is
he wheels it. And able to hit the inside and outside pitches he showed last night into the wind, which was interesting. Almost like you want to put that in the movie The Natural when he took that looked like an awkward swing at some point when he reached out for it. But they kept pitching to him. They were stubborn. But as you said last night, a lot of undoing was Coastal. Those errors, maybe if you don't commit those errors, give them, ammunition to pad the lead, maybe have a comeback. But as they say, even a computer needs to be rebooted now and again. And maybe that loss shakes up Coastal Carolina to have an added focus, Phil, because their offense has to get cranked up at some point.
Yeah, we'll find out more on that from Coastal. We're going to talk with associate head coach Kevin Schnall tonight at the bottom of the hour. Second hour, 7:30, Jack Leggett, former Clemson baseball coach, will join us. We'll catch up with him, get his thoughts on the CWS. Seth Beer, player he recruited to Clemson, his thoughts on his season, his future. Does he have some things in the works? We'll talk with Jack Leggett at 7:30. We'll talk with you early on if you want to join us. 800-956 William Perry, 7266. That's how you can reach us. Back in a moment. Phil Kornbluth, the professor, Tom Hayes, Carson Mason with you tonight, Wednesday edition. Sports Talk, downtown Columbia. Sports Talk, the Sports Talk show of Main Street, South Carolina, from the coast to the mountains. Make sure you take us with us wherever you're headed, across the state to the beach. Make sure you stay with us at the beach. Great coverage at the beach and our affiliate down there, WSTA FM. You're on the beach right now. Remember, turn before you burn. Remember that from the DJs back in the day? Turn before you burn. There's a little jingle they used to play with that. Turn before you burn if you're listening to us on the Grand Strand. And if you're down in the Charleston area, of course, our affiliate down there, ESPN Radio, carrying a sports talk. Catch us down there at Wild Dunes or Sullivan's Island or any place down there. So we appreciate you being with us. Take us into your home with you on your smartphone, your laptop, your radio in the house. Don't leave us in the car when you get home. 800-956-7266 phone number here on Sports Talk. Tough loss for Coastal last night in that they had been playing so well. They've been playing with a lot of confidence, and they just did not play well last night. And as you said, Pro, the offense has deserted them here in the two games in Omaha. You would think that eventually they're going to break out of it. Only 6 hits last night. G.K. Young had 2 of those. Michael Paez had 2 of those. They had an opportunity early, but they had a mistake on the base paths that cost them as well. They had a couple of errors that led to 3 unearned runs. Alex Cunningham was not great. 4 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, but only 1 was earned. He was he suffered the issue on the field with the errors that cost him there. Bobby Holmes, Mike Morrison, Zach Hopek finished up. Brian Howard was pretty good for TCU. 5 2/3, 6 hits, an earned run, struck out 7, walked 3. So they've just got to bear down and work their way out of the hole. As we all know, if you have followed the World Series over the years, it can be done. South Carolina, in its championship years, its back-to-back championship years, had to come through the losers bracket both times, if my memory serves me right. So it can be done.
Well, I think they did first time. I don't think they didn't lose a game at one point in the second time, but the first time they had to come through the losers bracket.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, because remember they had the record of 20-something straight wins or something like that in the postseason.
Oh yeah, you're right. You might be right about that. Yeah.
So
your memory's better than mine.
But the interesting thing is one of the things I think coaches do is they cultivate ulcers because they like to worry about everything. And if anything, I think Gary Gilmore would have been worried about is the fact that even though they moved the fences in, the ball still does not carry their TD Ameritrade. And the key point is he's got a team that their offense seems to be sparked by the long ball. Mm-hmm. And hitters who love the long ball are reticent to cut down on their swings. And maybe you need to change somewhat of your philosophy of hitting in this ballpark against the top pitchers that you're seeing by just making contact. Let's see if we can nickel and dime and first and third them to death rather than try to hit the 4-bagger. Now, Baker, he can hit that thing out of any ballpark. He's an enigma as far as I'm concerned. But as for Coastal, I think pretty much I know what you're talking about early. I thought they tried to get aggressive when the runner got thrown out early at second. Mm-hmm. But I think you got to be aggressive to try to get your offense jump-started.
Just looking back here just to see if you're right and I'm wrong. You're right and I'm wrong. South Carolina did have that long postseason winning streak, 22 consecutive games. Mm-hmm. Started in the 2010 World Series.
After they lost the first game.
They beat Arizona State. Mm-hmm. And they beat Oklahoma, beat Clemson, and that got them into the championship series, and they beat UCLA twice. Mm-hmm. And then 2011, they swept their regional, and then they swept their super, and then they went to the World Series, and they beat A&M, they beat Virginia twice, and they beat Florida twice. You're right. So 2011, they zipped right through, mm-hmm. no losses. Then 2012, they swept their regional, they swept the super, and Then they beat Florida. I guess in the first game of the World Series they played in, then they must have lost after that too in their streak. So, but they did get to the championship series
Yes, they
that
did.
year. So, okay. The point is, with the exception of that 1 year for South Carolina, the point is you can lose and you can still get to the championship series, and that's what Coastal has to just think about. The old simple one game at a time. Billis is going to pitch for them. He's scheduled to pitch for them tomorrow night. Freshman right-hander who's been very good for them. But we like to say great pitching beats great hitting. That's true, but you got to have some offense too. You just cannot put everything on the back of your pitchers and expect to win every time out. A lot of times, yes. Many times, yes. Most times, yes, but not every time. And now it's got to be one of those times the offense has got to step up for Coastal.
And score first. If anything we've seen in this particular postseason in college baseball, the team that scores first and you can keep getting goose eggs to the opponent, that noose starts to tighten and the other team plays tight.
Speaking of elimination, there's an elimination game tonight at the College World Series. It's Arizona and Cal Santa Barbara. That's tonight. Also eliminated today, the Braves winning streak was sent packing at 6. They're shut out by the Marlins 3-0. Gant pitched well for the Braves, but had no offensive help. Connolly shut out the Braves with 8 innings of shutout work. Braves had only 6 hits. They lose 3-0 in Miami to the Marlins. So a little 6-game winning streak goes by the boards. Other finals today in the major, St. Louis starting to wake up a little bit. They beat the Cubs 7-2. You think the Cubs are going to come back to the division?
No.
You don't think so?
Not with that pitching.
Mm-hmm. Houston beat the Angels 3-2. The Mets over Kansas City 4-3. And very, very good news out of the Bronx. After leading 4-0, then trailing 8-4, the gutty, gritty Yankees, who never say die, who never quit, who never accept defeat, rallied to beat the Rockies 9-8.
And the Rockies have been a little bit tough on
They've
the
been
Bronx
kryptonite
Bombers.
for the Yankees. This would have been a 4-game sweep for the Rockies over. They played 2 games in Denver and 2 games in New York. Castro with a go homer. I like that versus the walk-off homer. Walk-off homer, that's 3 words. The fewer words you can use to describe something, the better. The go homer, it's really, you can make it into 1 word, go homer. So Castro with the go homer for the Yankees. In action right now, Milwaukee leads Oakland in the 9th 4-2. Toronto leads Arizona 5-2 in the 6th. Speaking of the Braves, rookie outfielder Malik Smith going to be out 8 to 10 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Fractured left thumb. Suffered during an at-bat Monday. No, that can't be right. Now, this story, the editors missed this story.
Uh-oh.
Well, it says here he's expected to be out 8 to 10 weeks because of a fractured left thumb he suffered during an at-bat Monday against the Mets. I think they meant Sunday. An X-ray taken at the stadium Sunday revealed the fracture. They just got the days wrong there. Placed on the 15-day DL, and the Braves purchased the contract of Emilio Bonifacio from Gwinnett to replace Smith, who was batting about .237, but was leading the team with 14 stolen bases. Jackie Bradley Jr., a little story in the state newspaper today by Matt Connolly, keeping an eye on the voting for the American League All-Star team. Jackie Bradley Jr., as of Tuesday, is second in the voting for the American League outfield with 1,725,672 votes, trailing only Mike Trout. Mookie Betts is third, and fourth is Mark Trumbo. The top 3 outfield vote getters will start in the All-Star game. Bradley seeking to become the first game to start in the MLB All-Star game since Brian Roberts in 2005.
Red Sox stuff in the ballot box.
Be right back. Back we are, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia. Phil Kornblut, Professor Tom Hayes, 800-956-7266 is the number. Coming up after the break here, we're going to catch up with the folks out in Omaha with the Chanticleers. Of course, they've had the day off. They still have another game waiting for them, a chance to get back into things. We're going to talk with Associate Head Coach Kevin Shaw here at the bottom of the hour. Jack Leggett, former Clemson baseball coach, who's been observing baseball all over the place this season, will have his thoughts on the CWS and his coaching. Get a shot at that Furman job, if possible. Might get an interview. Doing some checking on that. I know Landon Powell's name has been mentioned, but I was talking with a very good source yesterday who told me that that's probably not going to happen at Furman, that the new athletic director, coming from professional baseball, coming from the Yankees organization, might talk with him, but it is probably going to go in some other direction. He probably has a pretty good network of baseball people and coaches that he can contact and lean on in putting together a true pool of candidates to replace Ronnie Smith. So we'll see where that goes. What else for you? This little baseball note: freshman right-hander J.K. Love is transferring from the College of Charleston to North Greenville, so he'll get a chance to play for Landon Powell. Love was a highly regarded pitcher out of Latta High School a couple of years ago, and 4 times an All-State player, won a state championship. Big guy. He's about 6'5", 6'6", throws it hard. So that's be good for the Crusaders to have him on board. The Hawks moved your point guard, or one of them, today.
Yeah, that was foreseen because a couple of things are going on here. Obviously, they anticipate that they may have to, if they want to pull the trigger, to give a max contract to Al Horford, which in all intents and purposes probably would be close to his last contract because he's kind of closing in on 30 now.
Mm-hmm.
And they may package now. They have it's a 3-way trade, by the way. It's Jeff Teague to his hometown, Indianapolis, and then George Hill goes to the Jazz, and the Hawks get the 12th pick in the draft from the Jazz. So now they have the 12th pick and the 21st pick and 2 second-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems that they're going to try to package those 2 first-round picks and try to get an established player, and then have, of course, the cap space to sign Horford to a max deal.
And how about Derrick Rose going to the Knicks? How about that move?
That's a shocking move, but that tells you that Chicago had given up on him being the star. He can't play the way he used to play at Reckless, and maybe he comes off the bench in New York. Who knows? I can't see him playing those monster minutes anymore with his leg injury.
All right, we'll be back. More sports talk coming up. Back we are. Carolina Radio Network presented by South Carolina. Check off Soy. It's Coastal Carolina at the College World Series. Shonekers back in action tomorrow night. They'll have to come out of the losers bracket of their side of the bracket to make championship series beginning on Monday after losing to TCU last night 6-1. Associate head coach Kevin Schnall joining us now from Omaha to talk about last night and the day today and what's going to happen tomorrow. Coach, how you doing?
Good, Phil. How you doing?
We're doing terrific. Thanks for joining us. And, you know, when you look back at last night, as you and the staff did, and you reviewed the film and talked with the players, what did you take from last night's performance by your guys?
Well, it's pretty simple. The margin for error when you get to this part of the season is extremely small. And, you know, we just didn't handle the baseball in a couple critical spots. And then, you know, offensively, you got to give them credit. I mean, their pitcher made some critical pitches when he needed to, and we weren't able to bunch together some quality at-bats in critical situations.
What'd you think of Baker?
He's a big, strong kid. That was really impressive, that opposite field home run. I mean, the wind was blowing in, and he basically, you know, squared that ball up and drove it right through the wind. He's an impressive kid, and, you know, they were telling me earlier in the year he was their Friday night starter. I mean, I guess he's got a little bit of arm injury right now, and he's not pitching for him, but he was their Friday night starter as well. Extremely impressive freshman.
Yeah, I mean, when you got a guy's batting like 380, like he is, there's not many holes to sneak the ball past him, is there?
No, there's not. And he's been on it the whole postseason. He's really got it going here this postseason, and it doesn't seem like anybody's been able to get him out. Even in the Super Regional A&M, he had a hell of a series there too. So, you know, again, we're moved on now, and you know, we're looking forward to our matchup now versus Texas Tech tomorrow night, and that's really what our focus has to be. And we had a great workout this afternoon, just a you know, an hour and 20-minute workout, and you know, covered a couple of the situations last night that we didn't handle properly. One or two base running mistakes, and you know, a lot of our focus now is, you know, attacking Texas Tech.
Yeah, what did you guys, the coaches, what did you say to your guys about the mistakes on the bases? I mean, I guess they were being aggressive in some form or fashion, but you know, what do you say to them about, you know, making sure that doesn't happen again?
Well, you know, we work on it every day. I mean, it's just like our swing reps, our ground ball reps, our bunting reps. I mean, our base running reps are really important. It's something that we focus on every single day. And, you know, that ground ball that was hit in front of us early in the game that we tried to advance to third, you got to give them credit. They made a great play, but that's a mistake that we cannot afford to make in that situation. The base stealing, I mean, we were you know, we were stealing, and you got to give them credit. You know, they played catch at a high level, and they threw us out. You know, you could argue, look back now in the first inning, looking back on the slow-mo, we were safe. But, you know, this state of the season, I mean, it is what it is. The guy, you know, called him out. And, you know, to TCU's credit, they played catch at a high level, and you know, their catcher going into the game threw out 30%, and he was 2 for 2 last night. Yeah,
he did have a good night behind the plate. Where did you guys work out today, and how did you judge the mood of your players?
Well, the mood's great. We're in Omaha. There's never a bad day in Omaha, so the mood's great. You know, we woke up. We had a great breakfast. We had a great workout. The guys got a light lift in after our workout, and you know, now we. Going to get a good meal in us tonight and get prepared for Texas Tech. And like I said, I mean, the mood's great. There's no bad days out here. We had a really good workout. Guys are in good spirits. They're bouncing around, got great life, great energy. This team is, you know, there's no quit in this team. So this team is excited to get back out there tomorrow.
Were y'all at Creighton today?
No, we went down to the area high school and work out just because it's grass field.
Gotcha.
Well, you know, looking at your team, especially in the postseason and obviously during the regular season, you led the nation in homers, and your offense, the whole dugout seems to lift when they see that ball go over the fence. talking to your players about the fact that in TD Ameritrade, that ball does not carry well, does that change any of the players' plan of attack for the pitching they see in Omaha, as far as maybe just trying to hit the ball and not trying to just hit it out of the ballpark?
Not really, no. I mean, TD Ameritrade, it does play extremely big, but no, we're not making any adjustments. You know, our number one goal as an offensive unit is to consistently square the ball up. And you know, the one thing that we're able to do though is we have stole over 100 bases. We have a very good inside game. We can do some short game stuff. So the field's the same for everybody, and it is a tough place to score runs. And you can see that it's evident in all the games that's been played. So we just got to keep grinding it out. And again, we faced two very good arms the last two nights. So I don't know if it mattered where we were playing. I don't think a lot of runs would have been scored.
Yeah. Talking with Kevin Schnall, the associate head coach with the Chanticleers. Billis for you guys tomorrow night?
Yes, that's the plan. He's a freshman right-hander. He's got a hell of an upside, hell of an arm, and this is going to be a great challenge for him because that kid right there is future number one guy for us, and he has pitched very well down the stretch. So I'm excited to see him on this stage.
What about Texas Tech and looking at them? What do you have to be aware of with their lineup as you guys plan for the Red Raiders?
Good club. Anybody playing this time of the year is a very good club. I mean, what really sticks out to them is offensively. They're very good. They can do a little bit of everything. They've got power. They've got three guys in their lineup with 10 or more home run. They've got balance. I mean, I feel like we'll see three, possibly four left-hand hitters in their lineup. They can run a little bit. They have 70 stolen bases of the club. So they do a little bit of everything, so it makes it, a lot more difficult to defend. But I believe that they will be the most offensive team we've seen since NC State. So that'll be a great challenge for Billis. And, on the mound, they're throwing a freshman left-hander at us whose numbers on paper aren't overwhelming, but the kid is throwing extremely well. His last two outings beat East Carolina in the Super Regional, threw very well. He's got good stuff. So it's going to, like I said, it's going to be a very good challenge.
You guys, you're not ready to come home yet, huh?
No, sir. No, sir. This has been an unbelievable experience. And, it's something that we've talked about, and it starts with Coach Gilmore. We've been talking about getting to Omaha for a long time, and now to see it come to fruition is unbelievable. This group to really knock down the wall, so to speak, and get this program over the hump and to Omaha, I think it makes you even more hungrier. I mean, we want to get back. We want to stay out here as long as we can, and now we want to get back. And, I want to make it known that it's not a fluke that we're out here.
Right.
In the last 15 years, we've been to the regionals. We've been to 3 super regionals. I mean, in the last since 2000, we've got the 9th most wins in the entire country. So I mean, we're used to winning, and we're used to winning at a high level, and it's this year was extra special to finally knock down that wall and get out here to Omaha. And like I said, it makes you hungrier to want to be out here longer and get back out here.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and get it done tomorrow night against Texas Tech, and then we'll move on to TCU and see what happens from there. But you got to take care of those Red Raiders tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys having us.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it as well. Coach
right.
Kevin Schnall, associate head coach at Coastal Carolina from Omaha. Thanks very much for joining us tonight.
So the national championship goes from Concord, and they got to run through Texas.
Looks that way. Looks that way. You got Texas Tech and TCU waiting for you. And, the thing about Coastal, now, should they get to Friday, then you got to start thinking about who they're going to start. Is it too soon to come back with Beckwith?
No.
You would come back with Beckwith
yes.
on Friday night?
Yes.
After having pitched on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's 4 days rest.
Mm-hmm.
That's Major League Baseball schedule
got a
right
whole
there.
Off season to rest.
Be right back. Yes, a little mellow track there to get us into the proper mood for recruiting. Recruiting should be mellow at times this time of the year. Why not sit back, drink a cold one, maybe a glass of wine, maybe a Chardonnay, and have yourself some recruiting knowledge. Offensive lineman TJ Moore of Charlotte, checking on him. No word from Alabama yesterday. He did hear from USC and Tennessee, talking to Sean Elliott and Will Muschamp at USC. He said Muschamp told him the same thing he's been telling him. Really wants him and needs him. He says he's a good player and he wants him down there. He's waiting to hear from Alabama about an offer. Only plans to wait on the Crimson Tide until today. If he gets an offer, he'll delay his decision, but if not, he'll move forward with the Gamecocks or Vols. He's not going to make his decision public until Monday on Twitter. However, he will notify the school he's chosen as soon as he makes the decision, which could be today or tomorrow. Defensive end DeAndre Johnson of Miami, thought by some to be a strong lean to USC, said last night he hasn't heard from the Gamecocks in weeks. I haven't heard from them in a minute, he said. I haven't heard from them at all since shortly after my visit there in April. Nothing, he said. I reached out to them and haven't heard back yet. Very surprised, he said. He said, I've seen a couple of DNs commit. Either they've dropped me or something like that. End of quote. He recently tweeted he would release a short list on July 25th, but he said last night he'll likely do that in the next 2 weeks. Despite not having heard from the Gamecocks, he plans to have them on the list. But he says they are slipping down the list, adding that Mississippi State, Tennessee, Auburn, and California most likely will be on the list as well. He's been to Mississippi State and Miami for camps this summer, and he plans to go to Florida July 23rd and also to Tennessee in July. Wide receiver Ortre Smith of Wando is going to release his top list of schools tomorrow, per his mother. Originally, it was going to be today. Now it's going to be tomorrow. Offensive lineman Billy Ross, Huntington, West Virginia, recently announced his 7 favorites out of about 30 offers. He has Florida, Florida State, Marshall, Michigan State, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia at the top for his services. That list could change, of course. And we mentioned this because he has a USC offer and was interested in USC, but the Gamecocks have not made his short list. Former Rutgers defensive end Marcus Ford, playing this season at Jones County Junior College, Mississippi. He's a one-time Tennessee commitment, redshirted last season, then left in January after the coaching change. He has offers from Ole Miss, Syracuse, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, and Cal. He's getting interest from USC as well. And he said that they've told him they're going to be heavy on him. They like the pass rushing aspects, that he's a quick D and off the ball, and he definitely has interest. He did not attend the camp at Jones that the USC coaches worked. He graduates from Jones in December and will have 3 to play 3. Defensive back Mike Carter of Douglasville, Georgia, looking to make a decision in July. He has Clemson, Duke, and North Carolina as his top schools. He was at Clemson earlier this month, plans to visit again in July. He said, I think they really want me. He said what really stands out is the tradition and the whole family feel of things. And he said the campus stands out too because it's not too big and everything seems close-knit to each other. Running back Daviwan Dean of TL Hanna says he's hearing more from Virginia Tech right now. He's also keeping in touch with USC recruiter Bobby Bentley. Neither's offered. In basketball, 6'2" Devontae Shuler, the Irmo native who played last season at Oak Hill Prep, Virginia, said he will soon trim his list. USC and Clemson are among the offers. He also has Southern Cal, Florida, and NC State offers. And 6'5", Najee Marshall of Greenbelt, Maryland, plans to visit USC Friday, according to hoopscene.com. He also plans to visit Pittsburgh Friday. He's been to Xavier and Virginia Tech. Can you get from Pittsburgh to Columbia pretty easily? By car, you got to go through the mountains, go through West Virginia, down 77.
79 to 77, I believe it is.
Now, if you fly, you could fly from Pittsburgh to Charlotte.
And you got to remember that Kevin Stallings is now flying his trade in Pittsburgh.
That is absolutely true. So South Carolina, this is a guy from, as I mentioned, Greenbelt, Maryland, and the connection there is the new USC assistant coach.
What's his name again? Najee what?
Najee Marshall.
Okay.
Najee Marshall. Yeah. So the new USC assistant coach, of course, has strong connections to the DC area, and that's probably a reason why they're going to get a visit and a look from him. That's recruiting. Be sure to keep an eye on it on our website, sportstalksc.com. Follow along with the bouncing ball on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. Make sure you follow us there and keep up with recruiting that way too. Back in a moment. All right, coming up on the top of the hour here on Sports Talk. Next hour, we'll be joined by former Clemson baseball coach Jack Leggett. Get his thoughts on college baseball, the College World Series, what he has seen, his likes, his dislikes, find out what's going on with him from a job standpoint. Hopefully he's got some irons in the fire that might work out for him. Thought it'd be a good time to catch up with the former Tigers head coach.
Yeah, you talked about Furman. Jack wouldn't have to move.
No, he wouldn't.
Coach Furman. If you're going to do a search, and I'm by no means I'm not an AD, but if I'm Furman, first the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at two staffs off the top of my head. I'm going to look at Vanderbilt's staff and I'm looking at Rice's staff. If they can do perennially what they do at a high academic institution, I want to talk. I at least want to talk to some of the.
I would think, considering that Mike Buddy, who was the athletic director, came from Wake Forest, and that's a pretty good program.
Yes.
You might want to look back there. I'm sure, obviously, he's got connections, very good connections there, and knows people there. I would imagine that that'll be an area that he will examine as well. But you make a good point, too. Rice, schools like a Furman, the private high academic, faith-based schools, I shouldn't say faith-based for Furman. I mean, it's a Baptist school. It's supported by the Baptists, but I don't think people think of Furman like a Liberty or an Oral Roberts or anything like that. But anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
A similar type situation. That would be pretty wise because those are very successful programs. But we'll wait and see. Hopefully Jack will get a chance to talk to him. And I mean, why wouldn't you talk to a guy that's in the Hall of Fame, who's won all these games, who can teach the game at a very high level, can take, young guys and make them better. Quite obviously, of course, the thing that will work against him is his age. And if you're Mike Buddy and you're a new athletic director, you don't want to have to make another hire in 3 or 4 years. You might be thinking, I want a young guy who's up and coming, who knows the game, who can build this thing from the ground up and make it successful for a 10 to 15-year run.
Age is relative. Again, I'll tell him, look at the age of Rice's coach and tell me who's young or who's not.
90 is a bit of an exception, okay?
Well, he's 80, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Listen, I agree. I mean, age is just a number. I'm just telling you what I think he might be thinking when it comes to this.
But then again, if you got a guy like Jack, he wouldn't have to establish any territory. Coaches in this state know him. Coaches up in North Carolina, that area where Furman could recruit, know Jack Leggett.
Sure. Yeah, listen. I think it makes some sense. We will talk with Jack. Not going to get into the Furman thing, obviously, because that would have to be private for him. But we'll talk college baseball with him in the next hour.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
And we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornbluth, Professor Tom Hayes here on a Wednesday night. They're underway in Omaha, elimination game, UCSB and Arizona. Arizona is the home team tonight. They're scoreless in the top of the first inning. Just checking out this story, Athlon's preseason All-American team. In fact, my buddy Arch today, who annually gives me my Athlon preseason magazines, gave me my Athlon preseason magazines today. So I've got those. It's still good to have them, even though everything now is digital on your laptop. It's still good to have the magazine in your hands. The Athlon Sports 2016 All-American team on the first team offense. The quarterback is
Deshaun Watson.
The second team quarterback is
the guy from Ole Miss.
Baker Mayfield.
You got to be kidding me.
I kid you not.
Oh, that is a joke. Already the magazine has lost its credibility.
Third team quarterback is
the guy from Ole Miss.
J.T. Barrett from Ohio State.
Oh, see that.
The fourth team quarterback
Athlon,
Fourth team quarterback is
Fish Wrap. Now I get to say the Ole Miss quarterback.
Greg Ward from Houston.
That is ridiculous. See, right there, you tell.
Your number one running back, top two running backs, Dalvin Cook and Leonard Fournette. Christian McCaffrey's the all-purpose player. Artavis Scott is second-team all-purpose. Wayne Gallman is third-team running back. Receivers, Calvin Ridley of Alabama, Juju Smith-Schuster of Southern Cal. Clemson's Jordan Leggett, your tight end. The center is the kid from Ohio State, but Clemson's Jay Guillermo is fourth team. Clemson tackle Mitch Hyatt is second-team offensive lineman. Cam Robinson is first-team offensive lineman and first-team prison dodger. Well, he got out of it thanks to a very friendly DA. On defense, Clemson's Carlos Watkins is fourth-team defensive line. One-time USC commitment Arden Key of LSU is second-team defensive line. Let's see here. Let's see. There should be more from Clemson on defense, should there not? Where's a Christian Wilkins? Where is
they're all in the NFL now.
Give me a Cordray Tankersley here. I'm looking. Let me go back here. Myles Garrett, Texas A&M defensive line. Derek Burnett, Tennessee defensive line. Jonathan Allen, Alabama defensive line. Malik McDowell, Michigan State defensive line. Devontae Fields, Raekwon McMillan, linebackers, also Anthony Walker of Northwestern. Corners, Cordray Tankersley, third team corner. First team corners, Desmond King of Iowa, Jordan Lewis of Michigan. Safeties, Jamal Adams of LSU, Derwin James of Florida State. No Gamecocks made
no
the
Chad
All-American
Kelly
team.
nowhere.
No Chad Kelly.
That's ridiculous.
No Chad Kelly anywhere inside here. Back in a moment. So we're talking about the Athlon preseason All-American team. We've gone over their preseason ranking of teams, and we also talked about their ranking of coaches last night. Remember, we went over that.
Yes.
I think Dabo was ranked number 9. We thought that was ridiculous. And he should be ranked higher than that.
Mhm.
If you're talking about
Top 5.
well, if you're talking about today, where are you today with your program? I mean, are you talking historically? Of course, Saban was ranked number 1. And you know what? I think Muschamp is, of course, his body of work at Florida. I look at that and I thought he did okay. I know people are saying that he failed at Florida. How can you win at South Carolina when you don't win big at Florida? He did win 11 games his second year at Florida.
And had him ranked 3rd in the country at one point.
Had some misfortune and injuries.
Quarterback.
And had some misfortune with offensive coordinators and things of that nature. I think Muschamp is much – I don't have that list anymore, but he's much, much better than the 79th best head coach in the country. There's no question about that. I would put him – I'll tell you, I would put him in the top 30 starting out right now. And I will bet you, within a couple of years, based on the results, you're going to see him moving into that top 20, into that top 15 category. The guy, I mean, just, following him, he works his tail off. He's a relentless recruiter. I'm sure he's got the mind for the game, especially defensively. I mean, he's been called the best defensive coordinator. Well, when Gus Malzahn hired him, he called him the best defensive coordinator, not just in college football, but in all of football. Remember that? So he's got a great reputation. You don't become the head coach in waiting at Texas unless people think very highly of you. Mm-hmm. So I think 79 is selling him way, way short.
And let's face it, Florida won the division last year. They won the East because of that defense. Who left all those players behind?
Mm-hmm.
Muschamp's defense.
And look, McElwain's a very good offensive mind, very good offensive coach, and he was able to get it going in a big way in a hurry. Be careful about winning too much too soon when you first step in, because nowhere to go but down. I want to go back to what we were saying, though, talking about Athlon, and you were making fun of the fact that they didn't have Chad Kelly listed anywhere in there. I would agree. How can you not have Chad Kelly among the top 4 quarterbacks in the country based on his numbers from last year? My goodness, they were fantastic. But we were talking off air about our favorite football magazine. Remember, before everything became digital, every summer buying, a stack of those things. I'd have 5, 6, 7 different magazines to read.
Smith?
Well, you started out with Street and Smith years ago, right?
Yeah.
And then the Sporting News came along with that, and they had kind of an upgraded version. And then you started getting the Lindy's, and then Athlon, and now Phil Steele, which is, I like Phil Steele's magazine. So doggone hard to read. And the other thing, too, about Phil Steele's magazine, when you're reading the overview of the teams, you can forget about the first half of what he's writing, because the first half of what he's writing is all about what's happened in the past.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I don't care what happened 5 years ago with this class or that class. And then he gets around to telling you, based on his information, what could happen moving forward. I still like to have Phil Steele's book because it is loaded with information, has a lot of data going back. You can compare things with teams over the last 5 years, and it's very soft too. It's very soft material that it's made out of. So I do like Phil Steele's book. To the phones, 800-956-7266 is the phone number. And are you serious? Is that who we have? Wow. Of all the people to slip through our loaded up phone lines, how he got through, it's amazing. He must have known the secret backdoor code to get into the program, to get past all those other callers. As we welcome into Sports Talk, the de facto mayor of the city of Charleston, the bad boy by the bay, the ninja of the night, the pontiff of the port city, the queen of the cowboy crybabies, and not the number 1 pick in tomorrow night's NBA draft. I can promise you that. As a matter of fact, I saw a clip the other night on YouTube, I was watching some highlights, and it showed Jim Everett choking Jim Rome. But we don't have Jim Rome. We've got J. Rome.
Jim Everett never choked me either.
He probably would want to if he ever ran across you. I know plenty of people that want to choke you. A guy named Bobby. You know a guy named Bobby down there who'd like to get his hands around your little throat?
As Mark Jackson would say, never heard of him.
He's the man. He's the man. He owns that town.
Yeah, right. Sure he does. Never heard of him. Who, is he somebody famous? Am I supposed to know who he is? By the way, I know who LeBron is, but I don't know anybody named Bobby.
Oh, wait a minute. You probably know him better by the Big Kahuna.
What's that?
What's on your mind, Jerome?
Hey, I just wanted to say how happy I am for LeBron. And the reason I was able to get you, Phil, because I'm like LeBron. I never give up. Never, ever, ever, ever give up, Phil.
I'm glad you fought your way. I'm glad you fought your way through a full bank of calls this week.
That's right. I am so happy for him.
Why? Why?
Why?
Why? Why?
Haven't you had the media, Phil? You've been listening. Don't you? I said, I was thinking before the playoffs even started, I know they're going to do this number thing, but I'm saying, you can't let them talk about you like this. You can't let them do you like this. And you know what? He took that team, they stood up, and they did something about it. I'm tired of Golden State. I'm tired of Steph Curry's kid, his little obnoxious daughter. I'm tired of his over pretty wife and his over pretty mom and his dad who used to be in the NBA. I'm tired of them. Good wisdom. They're all a bunch of they're so cocky and so arrogant. Yeah, right.
Well,
they got exactly what they deserve.
I would explain to you one of the problems. You got to remember a lot of these people who are writing in the media right now, everybody loves the guy that they grew up with. They kind of take a backward look at LeBron because he ain't MJ. And they try to put him down. Well, you ain't no MJ. And so they try to compare him with Jordan. He is a unique athlete, even to Jordan standards. There's never been a guy this big, this quick, this strong that does so many things.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, Jerome, you know, as much as you talk junk with all the shots to the junk we had in this series, I would have thought that you would have, would have loved it. And it was right up your alley, the style of play that Golden State was using out there.
Oh, yeah. Steph Curry, Mr. Holder and Grabber. They finally recognized he doesn't play any defense. He just holds you and grabs you. So, yeah, they finally found a way to exploit his massive, his great defense. Yeah. Now, I don't have anything more about Golden State for another 8 months, 6 months. Stephen A. Smith, he can shut his pie hole. I love California. California's great. Yeah, right. He's a Republican too. Can't stand him either.
Well,
let me talk.
Well, Stephen A. Smith has.
We're the only ones who will, Jerome. We're the only ones who will.
I think Stephen A. Smith the last 6 years is 0-6 in picking the team to win the title. So
well, in all seriousness, I mean, LeBron, he showed his greatness. He just willed his team to victory. Not to mention his physical skills. It's like you said, he's bigger, stronger, faster than everybody back there. I thought for a while. Well, I tell you what the big moment was. I mean, he couldn't do it himself, and the emergence of Kyrie Irving as a big-time scorer gave him someone else to feed the ball to. But I'll say this about the Cavaliers. They play a lot of one-on-one. And, it's a lot of isolation, pick and roll, but keeping the basketball between Irving and James and doing their thing and scoring. Unlike Golden State that's making that extra pass and looking for that next man. Not with the Cavaliers. And this time they were able to get away with it, win 3 in a row, and win the title. Hey, while we're thinking of Jerome, let's hear from one of Jerome's all-time favorites, former USC quarterback Connor Shaw, who was running a camp. I think it was this morning, might have been yesterday. Anyway, found some video interview of Connor Shaw talking with some reporters at his camp about the Browns, Steve Spurrier, and also his thoughts on the new coaching staff at USC.
That's right. I think that staff and Coach Muschamp has done a great job with their level of intensity. I think that was much needed when they first came in, and he's so positive, and he's really good about getting his players to buy in, which is really half the battle. And I think he's doing a great job recruiting. He's kind of setting the tone going into training camp. So I'm very hopeful, but I think they got the right guys in the building.
Speaking of recruiting, I know you're doing your own thing, but it seems like they've done a good job earlier bringing in some quality quarterbacks.
Are you ready? At South Carolina?
South Carolina, yeah.
Absolutely. I think, they had this Bentley kid that just came in and Brandon. So, and Coach Roper, he was with me in Cleveland. So I'm excited for that room in particular so that they can work with him. But on vice versa, I think that those players are really going to like that program.
I was going to ask you about Coach Roper. He speaks really highly of you. What was your relationship like with him up in Cleveland?
Well, I was going through a new offense in my second year with the new offense coordinator. And he really helped us, me and Johnny, a lot, and just kind of helped transition us and talk about football, talk about offense as a whole, kind of philosophies. And I learned a lot about him. I learned about, a lot of his coaching, and that's what makes me so excited about it.
Have you talked to Johnny at all lately, and do you know how he's doing?
Yeah, we keep in touch a little bit here and there on Snapchat or whatever. But I think he's as well as he can be right now, and I don't think he's given up totally on his playing career. But I just don't know. We'll have to see. But I hope he's in good spirits.
Connor, what does it mean to be able really to come back here to Columbia and just be idolized by everyone?
Well, this was such a home for me. People welcomed me in with open arms when I was in college. So, and I'm not from South Carolina. Obviously, I'm not from Columbia, but I claim the state now. And I think it's because of the family that I have now being embraced by everybody here. So it's really special.
You had to sell a recruit on what it means to be a Gamecock and what the game day atmosphere is like in Williams Price.
Well, I would tell recruits this is I went to South Carolina because there were so many opportunities to do things for the first time. And when I was there, we only won the East one time. We didn't win the SEC championship. We didn't go to a BCS bowl game. So as much of a run that we did have, there's so many things that still can accomplish, and these guys need to know that. And if they want to be a part of something for the first time in South Carolina, there's no better place to do that.
Connor, how often do you talk to Coach Spurrier?
It's been a while. I keep in touch with Coach and Jerry a little bit more after I graduated, but it's just it is how it is. You go on, and I'm in Cleveland for half the year, so it's kind of tough. But I do call him a little bit, and it's been a little bit, but I'm proud of everything he did at South Carolina, and it's a conversation I look forward to talking to him about.
All right, some Connor Shaw. That was from the Greenville News website. Willie Smith over there asking questions, and some of the other reporters covering the Gamecocks asking questions of Connor Shaw, who loves to come back to Columbia, lives up in Greenville, still considers South Carolina, even though he's from Georgia, considering South Carolina his home now. Jack Leggett coming up after the break. Hey, Sports Talk here on a Wednesday night. Good to have you with us. Presented by South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. Learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork powered by soy. Scoreless between UCSB and Arizona in their elimination game in Omaha. Let's welcome in to Sports Talk to talk some college baseball. None better than Jack Leggett, the Hall of Famer, joining us here tonight on Sports Talk. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good, Phil. How are you doing? I've missed you.
We have missed you. Been a little while since we talked. We talked to you early in the year,
right?
And now we're at the World Series. I know you're locked in watching the CWS. What do you think about what you're seeing out there?
Well, it just shows you how much parity there is in college baseball. And there's a lot of good conferences out there. And, like the ACC had 10 teams. I think the SEC had 8. Is that about right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's none left now. It just shows that there's good baseball played throughout the country, and whoever's hot at this time of the year is hot. And, there's some good baseball being played, not many big offensive games, but a lot of good pitching.
What about Coastal Carolina, the season they've had, the run that they have been on? You know the program well. You played them regularly. What about the job Gary and his guys have done?
Well, I couldn't be happier for anybody than Gary Gilmore. He's worked at a long period of time. He's grinded himself up through the ranks, different size schools, and got himself to a really good situation for him. He's got his niche going there. He's had a good team. I've watched him play a couple of different games and 3 or 4 different games actually, and watched them pretty closely. And they're scrappy. They're a lot of undersized players, but big hearts. They got some speed. They got some good hitters on the team. They've got some pitching, and they play good defense. They've got a well-rounded game, but the thing I like about them is that they're very scrappy, and they don't back down to anybody. And I knew when Florida had to face them in the first ball game that they were going to have everything they could handle, and they showed they weren't intimidated, and they were very relaxed in their first ball game out there. And I think I think they've got a good future if they can just get past this last game that they had and just kind of relax and put one game together at a time, put some pressure on the other team. They got a chance to win some games.
Going into that game with Florida, did Sully contact you to ask your opinion on Coastal Carolina, kind of pick your brain about them a little bit? Did y'all talk prior to or after the game?
Oh, we've been talking all along, but not really about anything like that. Sully does his own work, and he's got his, every game is on TV now, so they do their own scouting reports. And, he knows Gary's a good friend of mine, and, Sully's a good friend, so I'm not going to try to pit one against the other. But, they're always well prepared. Florida was well prepared. It was a good ball game. And Coastal just got some big hits at the right time, and their kid pitched incredibly well and just held down a good offensive team. And, at this time of the year, it's just a matter of who gets a big hit at the right time, because most of these teams are pitching pretty well in Omaha.
Yeah. Another team on a run, and I'm sure you saw him at Clemson, and I saw him at Clemson, then I saw him in Columbia, and then I've watched him in the World Series. It's Oklahoma State bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I saw him at Doug Kingsmore, I was just, to shut out Nebraska and then to win twice against Clemson the way they did. They just look like not a team that's really spectacular in any one way, but just very sound and solid in every way.
They play good defense. Their lineup is pretty good. They've won 2 games, 1-0, which is unheard of in the College World Series. The first time ever, I guess, in the College World Series, when going 2-0 and winning 2 games back-to-back 1-0. So they've got outstanding pitching, and they're just solid, from top to bottom, and they're going to scrap their run. But if their pitching wasn't as good as it is right now, they'd probably be in a little bit of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the big difference out there in Omaha, the ballpark is so big. Home run is not really a factor. It's more of a bunting game. Try to get 3 or 4 singles in a row, because home runs are few and far between.
Yeah, especially with that wind blowing in.
Yeah, I like to see a little bit more of an offensive game personally, but that's the way it is out there. So if you pitch and play defense like UCLA did a few years back, then you got a chance to win it all.
What do you say if you're Gary and you got your team now? You're in the losers bracket tomorrow night against Texas Tech. What does a coach say to the team to try to keep that mindset one game at a time. Let's take care of this business, and then we'll worry about TCU on Friday night, and then go on from there. How do you address your team?
Tell them to relax and you got nothing to lose, and just play with no fear of failure and reckless abandon, and just play on the edge and just do what we've been doing all year long, because they have been playing well all year long. They've played a very tough schedule. And so they can, whatever they see, they've seen before during the course of the year. And they just have to relax right now, and just sometimes after that first loss, you realize, hey, we've got nothing else to lose here. Let's go to work. Actually, play a little bit better.
I know you saw a lot of Seth Beer, and maybe you saw a little bit of the Baker kid there from TCU. Maybe you've seen a little more of him. I don't know. But, I mean, as freshmen go, those two, you ever seen better freshman hitters than those two?
Yeah, you talking about the right-handed hitter? What's his name? It's
Baker.
Baker, yeah.
Kid at TCU.
Yeah, he is big and strong. Big hit the other night, big home run the other night. I don't know if he got 5, 6, 7 hits in the series. He takes the ball the other way real well. It's a 2 hard line drives, ground balls through the 4-hole. Got the big home run. He's a big old donkey, and he's a force to be reckoned with. There's no question about it. He seems to have a really good mindset, and he's aggressive at the plate, and his swing is nice and flat. Seth Beer, watched him maybe 10, 12 games this year. I haven't seen anything like it. We knew coming in, was looking forward to having a chance to coach that kid, because we knew he was going to be really good, and he's very strong, family-minded, and education-minded. I'm going to get my, get the draft out of the way, come to school a little bit early, and for that stage in his, his age and career, to have the poise, the strike zone awareness, the flat bat, the power to all fields. Never really had the advantage of having the weight room, being in the weight room all fall. He just kind of, he's got those heavy hands, those snappy hands, that flat bat, that real good strike zone awareness, and had a phenomenal year, being freshman of the year, ACC player of the year, and now national player of the year. I mean, tremendous. You'll never see that done again by a kid that age.
Yeah, I tell you what do you I think of Richie Schaefer when I think about Clemson players with beautiful swings.
Right.
That always stood out to me. Do you consider Beer's swing to be a beautiful swing, or is it just more of a just power?
I tell you what he is when you first see him, his elbow is up higher than normal, his back elbow, but he's so flat to the ball, and he has such good awareness of the strike zone, so he doesn't get himself in bad counts. And he's clutch, and he's poised, and he's competitive. He's got a big heart. He's just a phenomenal player for that age. And I'd say he's got a really nice swing. It works really well. It's flat. It's quick to the ball. You might think you got him down and in, and next thing you know, hits it into the Cajun Cafe, try to throw him change up away, and he hits it out the left field foul pole. I've seen him hit it out to center field, left center. I mean, he's got a really good feel for hitting with men on base and hitting when the game is on the line, which is a very hard thing to do, and that's what that's what you pay for, those guys that can drive runs in. I'm telling you, he was a difference maker. I think in a dozen games this year, I think he made a difference in the record, a dozen games minimum. He seemed like every time they needed a big hit, he got a 2-run homer to bring them back 6-5, and then they get the rally to win, and he had some walk-offs, but just a phenomenal athlete, just a phenomenal hitting specimen at this age, and couldn't be happier for him because he's a great kid.
Yeah, and he gets on base every game too. That's every game he gets on base. Hang on, Coach. Going to hit a quick break if you don't mind. Come back to you and talk a couple of more minutes with Jack Leggett, Hall of Fame baseball coach, of course, former coach at Clemson, former coach at Western Carolina, former place kicker at Maine. Still holds the record for the longest field goal as a Maine Black Bear. He's probably most proud of that, I would think. Be right back. And we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, visiting with Jack Leggett. Still scoreless in Omaha in this elimination game between Cal State Santa Barbara and Arizona. What's your favorite memory from your many trips to Omaha? What stands out to you?
I think the game we played against Nebraska. We had about 27,000 people there. Most all of them were in red.
Yes, I remember.
Except for Orange. And Jeff Baker got the winning hit with David Slevin coming around third base with his hand raised up, and we won that ball game, I think, after falling behind, but we ended up coming back and winning that game. And against a kid who had pitched extremely well, All-American pitcher for Nebraska that year. And so that's one of the best memories. And going even further back, beating Alabama, who was number 1 in the country back in 1995, or 1996, I think. In 1996, we had Billy Koch came on in relief at the end, and we won 14-13. High chopper, Jason Embler in the 4-hole, almost loses it in the sun. Billy Koch covering first base, game's over. We win 14-13. So that was a great memory, and always good to win out in Omaha, and always tough to lose. And the last game of the year, if you lose the last game of the year, whether it's in a regional, super regional, or Omaha, or wherever it might be, it's just tough pill to swallow. We got to get on a bus and travel home, or get on a plane and travel home, and so it's always tough to lose the last game. But there's some great memories. We've had some great memories out there and had some great games.
Do you ever plan to go back to Omaha just as a fan, just to take in the World Series, or are you one of those? You're not going to go back to Omaha until you got a team to take with you?
Whether I got a team going out there or whether I got a really good close friend that's playing out there in a championship or something. And, I miss the whole Rosenblatt vibe, to be honest with you. That whole, going back to Rosenblatt Stadium, I think that would be a little more exciting to me. But the College World Series is the College World Series, and it may happen someday. We'll see what happens. But, right now it's not a burning desire to go out there and watch other teams play.
Yeah. Did you talk to Coach Corbin after their quick exit, and of course the tragedy prior to the regional with them, and they certainly did not appear to be a team that was really into it. Did you talk with him?
I talked to him the day, and Maggie, the day, his wife, the day that all this happened, and we text back and forth. But I got on the phone with his wife, and of course Tim was real busy, and then they lost a couple games, and we've made contact since that time, back and forth, playing text message back and forth. And he's he's very competitive, and it was a very, very tough 48 hours, 72 hours. My guys didn't have funeral on the Tuesday after the tournament, and the tournament was at home. I don't think he could have had a worse 4 or 5 day span there, and I feel really bad for him and his program, and certainly the kid's family and his players, because it's the tragedy and the timing of it and how it happened and all those types of things is very, very difficult pill to swallow, especially when you're invested as much as Tim Corbin is in his players, and like all of us are with our players. It was a tough thing, and very tough on he and Maggie, who are very close with the team.
Yeah, can only imagine.
Yeah.
What's the future for you? Are we going to see you coaching by next year?
I don't know yet. There's still some possibilities that could happen, and so my mind is still open to it. And just kind of waiting to see how things fall here, in the next week or two. And if it doesn't happen, then we'll move on and do something else. If it does happen and the right situation is there for me, then we certainly will take a look at it.
Of course, we were talking about the Furman job, and it's a natural with you right down the road. Are you going to get a chance to talk to those folks?
Well, it's possible, and we'll just have to see what happens here in the next week or so, and see where it goes, and see if it's a possibility. And it's certainly a great school, and Ron did a nice job there for 23 years, and we always had some great games against them. They always played us extremely tough, and they always had some good players. And so certainly it's a great academic setting, great athletic setting, and great university with a lot of tradition and history to it. And so I'm sure it'll be an attractive job for whomever they go after.
Well, good luck with all of that. We hope to see your name pop up here in the headlines with a chance to coach again. And we always thank you for your time here on Sports Talk.
Well, I appreciate it, Phil. It's always good talking to you. Okay.
Thank you, Coach. Have a great summer. Jack Leggett, don't do anything like that. We know what happens when you go skiing.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I forgot about it. He had a broken
neck. And a bike. He had a bike accident, too. Remember that? So we got to keep an eye on Coach Leggett.
That's why he's got to coach
summer.
again. Got to get him off
That's right.
those recreational things.
Got to keep an eye out for him. All right, thanks again to Jack Leggett for visiting with us here on Sports Talk, and best of luck for him moving forward. I would hope he would get an interview at Furman. We're told that interviews will be starting pretty soon, maybe the end of this week. Told that pitching coach Brett Harker is going to get an interview as a member of the staff, a chance to sit down with Mike Buddy, the athletic director, and talk. Landon Powell may indeed get talked to as well. Maybe Jack Leggett, and there'll be others too. So we'll see. We'll see what all comes of this. But Jack would be a terrific hire from the standpoint, and we're speaking here from a little bit selfishly because we know him well. We want things to go well for him. We want to see him back coaching because he's really too young to be on the sidelines. He needs to be running a team. He needs to be running a program. He needs to be competing again. He knows the Southern Conference because he coached at Western Carolina, so that would be a bonus. I mean, I would think that with his resume and his network of people when it comes to hiring coaches and being able to recruit, that would be very impressive to an athletic director.
Well, what's also impressive is some of your line of questioning tonight. He's got one of his disciples that's won a national championship at Vanderbilt. Another one is former assistants. always has Florida on the cusp. They just can't quite close the deal.
Yeah.
And when you got those kind of tentacles reaching out to you, that tells me that not only can you run my program as a CEO, but you can find me the next good thing when you decide that you want to leave.
Yeah. I want to further clarify something I put on Twitter earlier today. I worded it poorly. I'll just make sure I can clarify. When I mentioned Landon Powell's not a candidate for the job at Furman, what I'm told is, I mean, he may talk to them, but he's not going to get the job in all likelihood. I shouldn't sit here and say anything in exactness because you never know when you sit down and talk how things might develop. And I'm not, certainly would like for things to go well for him. Also, if he wants to go back to Furman where he was an assistant coach and become the head coach, he's got a lot of support in that area. But, just hearing that the chances of that happening are not good at this point. Now, he might go in there and blow him away in an interview.
And that has happened before where guys will tell you that they had no inkling. They thought they'd bringing in a guy, just give him some experience of getting an interview. And then suddenly they heard the guy and said, well, wait a minute.
This guy's good.
Yeah.
This guy's good. All right. So we'll keep a close watch on that. That is that's the one baseball job open in our state at this particular time is the Furman job. And that could be one of those pearls of a job. Ronnie Smith did the best he could over 20 years, had some good moments in his time there, but I guess just wasn't winning enough at a high enough level there. So the decision was made to go in a different direction.
Still arguably the prettiest campus in the state, in my opinion.
Okay. Thank you, Pro. Thank you, Carson. Thanks, everyone, for being with us. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.